How is everybody doing today? Welcome to the Making Awesome podcast, season 3, episode 37, which is what, 100? It's quite a few episodes. At some point, I need to just continue on. So I think with season 3, we're just going to continue on and never change to a new season. Just continue the episodes as they are. Or maybe I'll do it when we get to like whatever. I don't know. Just trying to make things right. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Me streaming bothered you? Okay. Well, the cat says the streams bother her, so she obviously needs all of the attention right now. But anyways, thank you guys for coming. Okay, cat, you're trying to kill me here? Jeez. Or, whatever. Anyways, we are going to be talking all about when is the right time to start a business. Because, really, there's an old adage, right? When is the best time to start a business? 10 years ago. When is the second best time to start a business? Today. And I don't know if that always holds true, so I want to talk about it. Also, we had Prussia just drop their sustainability report. So let me know if you guys want to go through that. It's 68 pages. I think we'll do it maybe next week and kind of just talk all about what sustainability and 3D printing looks like and everything like that, because I think it's kind of important. But let me know what you guys think, because I believe this might be one of the last business-focused podcasts we do for a while. Everyone keeps asking for the same stuff over and over, things like pricing your product and marketing, and we've already done those. Like, plenty. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think, and we'll go from there. But if you are hanging out, thank you. Make sure you like the stream. Subscribe if you haven't. We got some awesome people here hanging out. Ben Cox, Mad Cat USA, Mr. Chris Catlett, Sarcastic Snake 64, Ajax, Printer Prawn is here, R3DZ, Gregory Pfeiffer, Zerno, Eskimo, and it looks like that's about it who's commenting. So, thank you guys for coming out. Apparently, Victoria is in dire need of some pats. There you go. There are the head pats for the cat. Yeah. So I've been going through a lot of stuff with the bamboo lately. So forgive me if I'm a little, more. I don't know what's the right word. Distracted than normal. The bamboo has been very, very, very complicated. And, yeah. Anyways. Youssef, check your Patreon messages. I sent you the link to the Discord, so you can get in and hang out with everyone, because our Discord normally does a hangout while I am streaming. Cat, you can't rub your face on the microphone. I know that you want to. Cat here right now. But you can't do it, so come here. Out you go. I love you, but Dad's got work to do. Dad's got work to do. So yeah. Yeah, but yeah, Yusuf, if you check the Patreon messages, you'll see it's there. Anyways. Ajax says, how'd you like my nozzle fail this weekend? Was that you? Dude, okay, so someone sent me, and I'm assuming that was Ajax, a bamboo nozzle that has pushed out of the hot end. I don't even know how that's possible. It has to be hydraulic. So that is a very, very complex thing to do. And we're going to take a look at it in the upcoming Print Fix Friday, because I would love to learn more about it. But I do believe I have determined my issue. Bamboo still thinks it's a bed issue. Now they believe it's a settings issue. And they also believe it is the fact that I'm not using bamboo branded filament. So if you're using a bamboo with non-bamboo branded filament, shame on you, because apparently their machines only work with their materials from what I'm hearing from them. I'm just trying to get that in writing from them so I can go ahead and use that against them, because honestly, like, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. But this is really the pain of closed source. So I'm getting a response every 15 to 18 hours at this point, so I'm not able to get more than one back and forth with them during the day. But that's fine. We'll see what happens. Anyways, I swear to God, Cat, there are pieces of bamboo, like string and crap, in the filament, or in the trash can, which is right here. And she keeps trying to play with it, so I might have to, you know. Anyways. So let's talk about this business, this business thing, right? I'm not going to say everybody because that's too general. Most people that get into this industry, that start making parts, that get requests from others to make parts, they think, well, wait a minute, maybe I can make this a business as well. And it's way harder than you think. Now, if you're Cat, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but you can't keep rubbing on the microphone. I keep watching my voice get cut off, and that's not how this works. I'm sorry. I love you, but it's time. It's time to go do other stuff. You can either sleep or you can go. We don't get both. These are the things that if you're a part of our Patreon, you get to actually see when we post any of the extended cut for Patreons, because it's always the cat getting in the way. I love her, but you know, she wants to be in the way. Ajax says, but they have polymaker options built right into the printer, don't they? They do, but they're claiming that, yeah, that I have to. Ben Cox says, dead cat mic sock. Nope, I just use a foam mic sock for this microphone. I don't need it, but yeah. Anyways, so this business thing, right? Making some extra money. And our editor, Andrew, has actually been going through this personally. He had a buddy ask him to make some parts, and he's like, well, what should I charge? So I said, this is what I would charge. So a third to a quarter of that is probably fine if it's for a friend. He said, well, how did you get to that number? I said, I don't know. I just guessed. Well, how do I know if it's too expensive? I said, all right, slow down. Here's the deal. You're 1/4 of what a professional shop would be. If that's not affordable enough for this person, get rid of them. They're not worth it. And they're trying to use you for cheap printing. And sure, it was like 180 grams in 12 hours. If you wanted to charge cost on that, you're probably looking at like $5 or $6. But it's a 12-hour print. Just charge 30 or 40 bucks. Who cares? Just charge the amount and be done with it. Because they're really, it doesn't matter. Right? Andrew is not trying to start a business. He's trying to make sure that he doesn't, overcharge or undercharge. And I think there's a lot of value to that. And it is one of those things that you will likely struggle with when you look at starting a 3D printing business. And we've talked about pricing many times. I think we've actually done 2 whole episodes on it. So we're not going to be revisiting that for a while. But, if you want to go look at them, go watch them. But I believe there is something here where if you do want to turn this into something, you got to kind of make the jump at some point. Now, the nice thing with 3D printing is you can still operate a day job. Now, it does mean that getting things like phone calls is not easy, and a lot of businesses tend to be old school, where they're just going to call you up on the phone and talk to you about what's going on. If you don't have a phone number that's public, just let them email you. Now, I will say Google Voice is totally free and a great option to have a different phone number other than your cell phone, or if you have a home phone, for a business, and you can just tie it to an existing cell phone. So all you need to do is just give them that number. It will ring your cell phone. Now, that's what we do at 3D Musketeers, and we utilize Google's call screening service. It's, again, totally free. And it is really, really valuable. And I'm apparently told that OpenPhone is amazing from CAD class. I've never used it. I love Google Voice because it's free. Now, we are going to be looking for something that can do more of a call tree perspective, so I know what they're calling in for. I mean, they're all probably just going to go to me. But, yeah. I like what Google Voice enables you to do, because it doesn't really lock you down. And if you do want more features, you could buy Google One, and a lot of people will choose to use Google One for their services anyways. Things like websites start to become a problem. Pro tip, we use Elegant Themes, which they're the makers of Divi. Divi is one of the most popular website building tools out there, and unlike Squarespace or Wix or any ones like that, If you buy the perpetual license, which I think is 200 or $250 to start, but it often goes on sale for like $185. That's it. You pay a one-time fee and you're done. And all the stuff that you make is yours. I love it. It's what we built 3D Musketeers on, and it's easy enough that I can use it. And I am what the IT industry refers to as an end user. So yeah, take that one with how you will. We use WooCommerce as a backing, and there are two WooCommerces out there, WooCommerce.com and WooCommerce.org. I forget which is the right one. One of them is a hosting platform. Don't use it. The other one is the actual WordPress that you want to use. So it's all about having that WordPress backing on your website. This can seem very daunting, and in fact, I've gone through a lot of local entrepreneurs and helped them out with their websites that all have the same thing. It's a very daunting thing to do because getting started is that tough bit. And for those of us that do suffer from a little bit of the neurodiversity and painting with a broad brush, it is... Oh, did I say WooCommerce? I meant WordPress. I'm sorry. If I said WooCommerce, I meant WordPress. Very sorry. So Mad Cat, sorry, it is WordPress. Like I said, I was up late working. The friggin' bamboo has been an absolute nightmare for me right now, so sorry, that was on me. So yeah, we look at all of these things that keep somebody from starting. And it is very, very, very easy to just say, I can do this later, I can do this later, I can do this later. But if you are looking to start even a part-time business in this industry, having some sort of online presence is important. If you choose to use Etsy as your website, I don't really see an issue with that because it is just an online marketplace. But remember, it is kind of Etsy, and Etsy takes a lot of fees. And you are going to end up competing on price unless you have something incredibly unique and you have really, really good SEO on it. And chances are, if you're just starting, you don't have any of those. So you got to start somewhere. So yeah, this adage of when is the best time to start a business? The best time is 10 years ago. The second best time is today. It's not technically wrong, but I don't want people to listen to that adage and think, I need to start now. No, you need to start when you feel most comfortable. And don't push yourself into doing something like this just because you feel that you can do it, right? We've had a couple of people in our Discord kind of talk about wanting to start a 3D printing business, but they clearly don't have a business plan. They clearly don't have a marketing plan. And even if it is, this is the market that I want to sell to, and the business plan is sell to this market, right? They don't even have that. And I would say, hey, pump the brakes. I want to see you get some of that under your belt first before you jump head first into a pond that is 6 inches deep, right? Not that I know 6 inches. Anyways, I don't know where my calipers are. I think the cat is hiding stuff because, like, I have lost my X-Acto and my calipers, and they're always right in front of me on my desk. I don't know. So weird. But whatever. All right. So then to me, when is the real right time to start a business? It's when you're ready. And if you're never ready, then don't start a business. Do it as a hobby. Help out friends, help out family, whatever it might be. Yeah, for the guys out there, that's roughly 6 inches. I love making those jokes, and editor Andrew always gets on me for making those jokes. He's like, come on, man, you can't do that. Also, Mr. MN Don for the $20 super chat, thank you very much, saying love this type of information. Hey, we're here to do it, so appreciate you. I believe it happens when you're ready, and if you're not ready to start a business, then take it slow. Like I said, run things a little bit slower. Start maybe on Facebook Marketplace. Maybe set up an Etsy store. The nice thing about Etsy is it's not very expensive to get involved, and you can get a decent presence on there pretty quickly. Now, understand there are other opportunities out there, things like farmers markets or maker fairs or things like that in your area. And if you say, Grant, I don't have any of those in my area, well, I'm sorry. I recognize that it's not always common for people to have that kind of ability for access that I might hear locally or someone might somewhere else. And so, yeah, you would end up limiting yourself. But online marketplaces like Facebook, Craigslist, Kijiji, whatever you choose to use, are options as well. But I think if you are not looking to set up your own website and go hardcore into it, Etsy is a great place to start. eBay is pretty simple to go into as well once you look at Etsy. But I hate that at that point you're pretty much forced to compete on price unless you have something that is validly unique, and it will only be unique until someone decides to copy you. So we've talked about looking at niches or niches in the past and what that means for your business. And I think if you're not able to define and delineate what a proper niche is for your business, then you're probably not exactly ready to do that. You're not ready to take that step. And that might be a hard thing to hear. I know. Being told you're not ready just kind of tells you, well, I'll show you. Well, then show me and prove it. I'm totally fine with saying, you weren't ready, but that kick in the ass got you ready. And if that's what it takes, dude, freaking do it. Get out there and do it. Now, I got called out by a streamer who streams every single day for the most part. And they said that anyone that talks about business online on the internet doesn't know what they're talking about. And I got a little defensive and kind of called them out for what they were doing, since they make removable magazine limiters for firearm magazines. And I called them out for it, but they deleted those comments from the chat, citing that they don't get political. Well, you do get political because that's what you do. And they were talking about how their business model is just to undercut everybody. I regret to inform you, but that is an absolutely piss poor business model, and you should not listen to that. This person believes that your time has no value and that doing CAD work for people has no value, and you should not be charging for that. And I regret to inform you that that is incorrect, and you should be charging for it, and you should be charging a premium for it. Your time has more value than you think it does. And if you're listening to somebody who tells you those things and that's how you decide to run a business, you're going to run yourself out of business. You're not going to run yourself into it. As Pez Liz says, I don't know what I'm talking about. I just talk. Yeah, some people say that for me too. Liz, I'm sure you have no idea who I'm talking about. You know exactly who I'm talking about. You have 24 hours in a day. And if you let people take advantage of that to get free design work, free this, free that, free everything, you're going to end up wasting your days. For all the money in the world, there is still one thing that, as of currently recording, that is at least within my public knowledge, it is not possible to get more time. Now, I guess if you go close to the speed of light, time will start to dilate. But let's not discuss how complicated it is to accelerate humans to that close to the speed of light. So, Theodore Bradley says he has 25 hours and he still wastes it. And remember, even with 24 hours in a day, your body will eventually force you to sleep. You can run some overnight, late night, early morning kind of stuff. You can do it. But it's not going to last very long. Your body will eventually say, you're done, and put you to sleep, because you do need to rest. And I've ran on Rails for many, many years. And this is actually, you'll see, this podcast, there's an entire purpose for this, because we're going to be announcing a shift in the focus of 3D Musketeers toward the end of it. So stay tuned. I have been running on Rails for years. 18-hour days, 7 days a week. And let me tell you, it's terrible. And it is often said that if you are looking to go into business and you are not immediately prepared to run 12 hours a day, 7 days a week for 3 to 5 years with no cash influx, then you are not ready to start a business. And I totally disagree with that. Former Grant would say, yeah, you need to run 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 and 1/4 days per year, every single year for 5 years minimum till you can start paying yourself. And that is truly a terrible way of looking at it, because you have walked into a business knowing that you're going to run ragged, you're not going to pay yourself, and you're going to run a hair-thin margin. Why would anybody want to do that? Why would anybody want to do that? They don't. And you might look at some of these businesses and say, oh, they're overnight successes. Every overnight success has 5 years in building it. So don't look at somebody else and say, that's imposter syndrome. We've talked about it previously. If I had an editor, I would say we would card to that video so you can take a look, but the mods can toss it in the chat. I know it sucks. And as a small-time creator, looking at some of these other big creators, hell, looking at creators that are a third of my size, that are getting these sponsor deals that I can only dream for, right? That's imposter syndrome. And it's eating you alive. It's eating me alive. But be aware of it. Because if you can see that it's happening, you can stop it in its tracks before it really starts to become a problem. I don't want it to be a problem for you. And I promise that you don't want it to be a problem for you either. Am I dropping frames? No, I'm not. Okay. Like, things are getting weird. So, when is the right time? It's when you're ready. But at some point, you do have to kind of put yourself out there. Daddy Wazzy, the creator, he's not in here, I don't think, and if he is, hi, Daddy. On Twitter, retweeted my initial tweet about this stream, saying that a wise business person once told him that if you are 75% ready, jump in and do it. Oh, he is here. Hi. And I totally agree with that. If you think that companies like Apple knew what they were doing when they first started, I regret to inform you that you're wrong. And if you don't agree with me, I want you to go look at Apple's first logo. It had Isaac Newton in it. And tell me that Apple knew what they were doing back then. They had no clue. They chose a random freaking logo and rolled with it. Now, of course, they have a well-defined brand, and their marketing is this kind of... Their marketing budget is the kind of sales numbers that small businesses dream of. So, yeah. It is kind of, at some point, you got to make the jump. I often say that when you are making 3 to 5 times what you're making in your day job, it's a good time to quit the day job. Because at that point, you've determined that even in a, 1/3 market, you're still going to come out okay. And when the market is doing really, really well, you're doing great as well. Now, you might not find that that number works out for you. You might find that it's double, right? Let's say you're making $50,000 in your day job, and, then you... Sorry, I always have... I need to remember to eat before podcasts. I always end up with heartburn. Ugh. But if you make... Let's say you make 50 grand, and you're able to bring in $100,000 of net profit into your business every year, that might be a great time to go ahead and say, you know what? I'm good. And the nice thing about working for some businesses is that they'll understand. And they might let you moonlight when you need it. Come in 4 hours a week rather than 40, right? Be able to limit the scope of your job while still maintaining your employment. Because the thing that you do kind of forget is things like health insurance. And if you're in the United States, one, I'm sorry. I get it. Health insurance sucks. But it is going to be one of the more expensive things. My health insurance is really expensive every single month. And it's actually because I am below the poverty line. Because I don't take a salary, the U.S. government has decided that I am too poor for assistance when it comes to Obamacare. And that is relatively recent. This was not something that happened when, the American Care Act was first announced. I was able to get really affordable health care when it was first announced. But in the presidency that followed, that all of those things were taken away, and there became a limit for where you can be too poor for assistance. So you do need to be careful about that. Now, if you are married and you have a double income household, your spouse might be able to, take the load of that insurance. And there is some options there. Obviously, having two incomes or multiple incomes, we should say, in a household would significantly reduce that stress, because then your runway is extended, right? We always talk about runways and burn rates when it comes to starting and maintaining a business. And that burn rate is how much cash you're going through every single month. And the runway is how long you have before you run out of cash. So if you can reduce your burn rate, you go down that runway slower, meaning you have more time till you hit the end. And that's why you see a lot of businesses talk about running as lean as possible, right? And at some point, you kind of run out of places to cut cash, and you start learning how to cut cash in your day-to-day life. Abilities to, eat less food every single day, playing the game that is now popular called intermittent fasting, which, we just called being poor. Great. Now you can just say you're intermittently fasting. But that kind of thing is not sustainable when you need your brain to operate on all cylinders firing. If your body can't operate on all cylinders firing, how can your brain? Right? And that brings up the topic of neurodiversity in this industry because, we've got a problem with it. And I don't say that as, it's a huge thing, we need to deal with it, everything's going to be a problem. However, I believe that we should really look at dealing with our mental health more often than we do. We as makers have a problem. And I'm not going to call anybody out, but if you feel called out and you aren't seeking mental help, go ahead. We've talked with therapists here live before. There's nothing wrong with it, and it should not be stigmatized as it currently is. So if you are struggling with the ability to finish projects, the ability to focus, the ability to start something because all the tasks feel so daunting, things like object permanence where you lose shit all the time. I have no clue where my X-Acto knife and my calipers are. I have no clue where they are. It's why I own multiples of those things, because I don't know where I put them. They're somewhere. If you're like that, or you have any of those things, it might be worth going to talk to a doctor about it. And yeah, it's not cheap to get mental health here in the United States, but you know what isn't cheap? Running a business with undiagnosed problems that you could relatively easily solve. Theodore Bradley says there would be no 3D printing industry if it was not for neurodiversity. I was going to make a 3D Nero joke there, but I didn't. So, and as Liz talked about a little bit higher up in the comments, burnout is real, and coming out of it is really something. My first vacation is in 18 days, and I will completely disconnect for a few days. That's awesome. You're going to Murph, which is great. We are not going to Murph. We could not financially afford it. Welcome to the world. And it's not easy. But it is one of those cases that if you are dealing with problems, you got to go talk to somebody. If you need a recommendation on a therapist, please email me, youtube@3dmusketeers.com. We have a few that we like here at 3DM and happy to make a recommendation. Obviously, I can't guarantee that any of them will work for you, and they're all licensed in Florida. I don't know what it looks like for them to work outside of the state of Florida. But hey, I've got some, so I'm happy to make the recommendations. If they can't help you, they can't help you. But it is something that I believe that you should be looking for if you aren't already. Talking to someone that can understand your struggles, because the struggles of a small business owner is a big deal, more than you think. I MC an event every Tuesday for a facility called Domi Station. They are a business incubator based in Tallahassee, Florida, where its director happens to be a good friend of mine, Mr. Robert Blackledge, who really should be a podcast guest. All right, Grant, while you're thinking about it, go to Robert and tell him. Because I'm not going to remember otherwise. There. Because I'm not going to remember otherwise. This is ADHD for real. And we had a bit of an epiphany. We were supposed to be talking about break-even analysis and what that looks like, but one of the members was going through a lot of stuff. And they said, it just feels like I'm going through this battle alone. And everybody there was like, no, you're not. We're all going through this. But the thing is, small business owners want to bear the weight of their company on their shoulders constantly and believe that it is the Sisyphus school of business. And while there is some, a level of Sisyphus, as the guy who was forced to push the boulder up the hill for all eternity, there is some aspect to that, because some of it you do have to learn the hard way. You don't have to just torture yourself. And asking for help and talking to others and all of that will help you make better business decisions. So yeah, if you don't have a therapist, I don't think you're ready to start a business. And I know that that sounds really, really weird. And you might say, well, Grant, I disagree with you. Hey, maybe you know something that I just haven't figured out yet. And if that's the case, please, brother, tell me. Because I know there's a lot of us here that struggle with those kind of failures every single day, and where we believe that we're not worthy enough. I'm here to tell you that you are, but you're not going to listen to me. You need someone else to tell you. And often that person is yourself. So you have to look at how you can define what worthiness looks like to you. I know for me, it was get to a point where we are net profitable every single year. That's how I know that I am worthy. Now, I'm redefining that in where I need to start taking a salary. Now, I am worthy because I've gotten the company to a point where it is making money, but that's a team effort. But I have to now get it to a point where I can start. Unify 3D says, now you're dictating and not advising. I don't know. I totally disagree with you, but this is a podcast, homie. And if you don't like it, you can leave. This is an honest talk about when it's the right time to start a business. And I think ultimately you know the right answer. Only you know what it looks like. My opinions are my own. And I've developed them over years of running businesses, of dealing with business success and business failure. I've learned the hard way. And if you think this is dictating, then please go ahead and find another channel. Don't hit the door. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. I'm not trying to dictate to you people. I'm trying to have a conversation. Well, as much as a one-sided conversation can be, with comments, right? Where we can talk about it. If you think that I'm dictating, that's probably not the right way to discuss it to me. But, yeah. Anyways. I'm not qualified to give you real advice. That's what a therapist is for. And I recommend you get one. So. No. Oh, wow. Okay, bye. See you later. And you know what? You can go in timeout for a bit. That's the fun thing about a live show. I can do what I want. Oh, uh-oh. Cat's on the keys. Oh, God. Yep. You guys just got a message from the cat. There you go. Now there's a message in chat just from the cat. No, oh God, oh gosh. All right, come here, come here. Okay, all right. Hi, 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 Miss Kitty. Victoria sends her regards. Yes. Oh, are you here because somebody is being mean? Are you here because somebody's being mean in the comments? New podcast idea. All streamers with cats. Pin that comment. All right. Yeah. All right. We'll pin the comment. That's fine. Fine with that. We'll pin the cat comment. New podcast idea. All streamers with cats, how to deal with your cats. You put them in another room when you're streaming. I mean, yeah. She's a good little cat. We love her. We love Victoria here. She even has her own stickers. Um, oh, there she is. Mrs. Victoria. All right. So let's move on into the no one to hold and no one to fold 'em, right? There is the right time to start, and then there's an even more appropriate time to end it. Often, that's more of a personal thing. You have to know when it's time to shut the business down, or when it's time to pivot. And as makers, we often take the pivot option way more often than we should. Because the pivot option is one that is a lot easier to do. We have machines that can make literally everything. And a lot of times, the ADHD that a lot of makers possess give us the skills that we need to pick up new subjects and topics incredibly quick. And yeah, that one's kind of cool. But if you rely on it, it becomes really dangerous in that, oh, if this doesn't work, we just move and we just move and we just move and we just move. 3D Musketeers is totally guilty of this, where we kind of just move with where the business comes from. And if we get a couple of clients from this industry, clearly there's a need in the industry, and we can look at, moving the business to focus more on it. And that's not always the best move. But the big problem is that most businesses have some sort of market research. And outside of asking people in your local community or having a YouTube channel of some sort where you can ask, generalized questions to people all over the world, you're taking an educated guess at best. And at worst, you're just hoping and you're sending it and seeing if that shot in the dark ends up hitting a target or if it ends up landing in a field somewhere randomly. I know that it's hard to give up something that you've worked hard on, but there will be some signs. When it starts to affect you physically, emotionally, mentally, when it starts flowing over into your personal life, whether you choose to be secluded where you were out and about all the time, or you find yourself being less than nice to people that you care about, and you ruin relationships that had a lot of value to you because of something to do with your business, it might be time to reconsider why you're in that business and what you're doing it for. Or just consider that maybe you jumped in a little too early. I'm not here to tell you what's right and what's wrong, much to what some commenters believe. I'm here to tell you my experiences, and that business isn't just puppy dogs and rainbows. There is way more to it than you think, and those things that exist are a real problem and can really creep up on you. And so it is good to be careful for that kind of thing and keep an eye on it. That's where having a therapist can help. Having a significant other, if you are someone that has a significant other, that can be honest with you and tell you, hey, you're being a bit of a jerk. I don't know why you're being a jerk. What I'm doing doesn't dictate you to be a jerk, but you're being a jerk. can be very helpful. You got to keep an eye on not only your bank account, but what's going on in that noggin. And if it is getting too much for you upstairs, it's time to take a break. And if that break is a temporary one where you shut down for a week, maybe go on a vacation, or you just get the sleep that you've been missing, so be it. But don't keep running yourself into the ground. It's a recipe for disaster every time. So what are some signs then that you're ready to go full time? Well, I think one of the big ones is going to be that you're making enough money to do it, that you've built out a system that works for you, that it's efficient enough, and you can do it while still maintaining a day job. Knowing that if you do give yourself more time to be more productive in your business, you might be able to eke out another X amount of money per year. And that number better be relatively significant, right? Because you're going to be losing income from the day job. So you got to make sure that, the extra money that you can bring in is something that can work. We've talked about target markets before, and it's something that you should have well defined at that point and working within that target market to keep life a little bit easier for you. The further outside of your target that you go, the more likely you are to have specific problems with it. So, don't have those problems. Look at it before it becomes a problem. Oh, okay. Are you going into your bed? Okay. No, you're coming back? Does this every time I record. I swear it's every single time I record. And similar to when you're ready to start, you'll know when you're ready to go full time. And it is always good to have someone that you can talk to and ask, am I feeling the need to go full time, or am I feeling something else that is masking what is the, hey, pump the brakes here, kid. Pump the brakes. So what are some risks of being your own boss? We've got some pretty big ones, right? The big one being you are now responsible for your own insurance. If you were working a full-time day job previously where you had health insurance from somebody, whether it was, your job or you had relatively affordable health insurance through some other means, if you are not taking a salary, you will be below the line where the, Obamacare or healthcare.gov is able to help you. And you're going to find yourself paying $500 to $700 a month for half decent healthcare. Nobody wants to do that. You want to make sure that you're getting reasonable healthcare. And I know this advice is mostly for USA-based people because in Europe and other countries, they have socialized healthcare that works phenomenally well for them and means that you can go to a hospital for very little money. So, grain of salt that if you're not in the United States. And also screw you because my healthcare costs are so damn high, it's not even funny. But, respectfully, of course. So if you are looking to take that jump, it is good to make sure that you know a few things. Knowing how to delegate is so important because you as a solopreneur cannot, well, okay, you might be able to, but you should not do everything. It is good to have people that you trust in your circle because they can help you, right? And it's good to have multiples of those people. Whether they start out as independent contractors or they start out as full-time, it is good to have multiple people in your circle that can help you when you need it. And those are the people that can really, really help you. And they're the ones that you take care of as well. Because they are the ones that might want to be in your company. It's something that I pride myself a lot with at 3D Musketeers, that we've built a team that is at a point where they say, hey, how can we make it so I can quit my day job and come work for you full time? Like, the first time that happened, I think I cried. Fairly certain I cried. Because that is one of those things, like, as a business owner, it tells you you're doing something right. That is huge. That's huge. And if that's the kind of team that you've built, you better take care of them. And a risk of going full time and bringing somebody else on too is that all of a sudden something goes wrong and you can't pay them. Nobody likes that because everybody has expenses and bills and that kind of thing they have to take care of as well. So be aware of that. Make sure that if you are going to go full time, that you are able to delegate, but you also have the finances to delegate. Because if you're the only one that's getting paid, you're doing it wrong. It's time to make sure that you pay your people good rates too. Because guess what? They have bills as well. And while their bills might not be as high as yours, or they might be higher, one, it's quite frankly none of your business. But two, paying them a small amount because you can does not always mean that you should. And I recognize that the purest form of capitalism says pay people the minimum amount that they're willing to accept. But that doesn't mean that's what you should do. Obviously, take my advice with a grain of salt, but I believe paying people livable wages is a very, very important thing. The company minimum in 3D Musketeers is 15 currently, and I am really trying to get it to 20 by the end of the year. I think July 1, we're going to go to 17 as the minimum for the company. And while, yeah, it's a lot of money, we pay out a ton in expenses to our team. It means a lot of them can live reasonably comfortably. They don't have to worry about where their next meal is going to come from. Because I'll tell you, if you're forcing someone to basically live in poverty, they're not going to be the best workers. Because they're a lot more focused on where their next meal comes from than they are about getting the job done the exact way it needs to get done. Now, again, grain of salt, whatever I say here, because this is how I look at things. I believe people should be paid a livable wage. And if you don't, that says more about you than it does about me. Ronald DHS is asking $15K full time. That's $15 an hour. Sorry. And no, that's not for full time. We actually don't have any full-time staff here. We don't have consistent enough business to do that. And I guess we're far enough in that anybody that's not paying attention will have already left. This is kind of an official announcement that 3D Musketeers is changing its business model heavily. We are moving away from doing small job work for people. You've actually, if you watch the videos, you've noticed it. The printers behind me don't run very often anymore. And while we do have machines running, they're not normally going to be the ones behind me anymore. And it means that we are focusing more on the online and digital content that we are producing and the physical products that we are looking to produce. If we are looking to really go after a scalable business model that can keep multiple people employed full-time, including paying myself a salary that makes sense, I should be making at least $100,000 a year. With the amount of work that I put in, it is not an unreasonable rate for me to be paying myself, especially when we have a team of 14 people that I oversee on a day-to-day basis. That's just the truth. And I need to start taking money. And to do that, we have to look at a scalable business model. It's why we've been focusing heavily on the Making Awesome Academy. I know that no one has really seen it, and we've talked about it a little bit. And if you're new here, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But it is our learning management platform that we've been developing for a couple of years now to help people with ideas bring them to life. It is a set of classes. Currently, we're looking at 45. We have done, like the entire curriculum is done, and I'm currently reviewing to see if we can add some more in there. And we're looking to start filming by the end of the month. That's a big deal because that will be an entire platform that is scalable because it's the same stuff. More people can take the classes, and it doesn't really increase the amount of work that we have to do as a company. So scalability starts to matter. We are looking at focusing more on 3D scanning because we can make more money in a day scanning than we can through other platforms. I don't know what the future will hold for us, but here's what I can tell you. Printing polymer parts for people, oh, it's a lot of alliteration, is not a profitable business venture for us at this time. It is something where I'm spending a lot of my time and we're not getting a lot of money out of. And this realization has come from all the effort that I've put into the bamboo for the quality of parts that it's been producing. And I recognize that the bulk of our farm is not like that machine, but I've realized that I've spent over a third of that machine's entire life working on it. And I can't do that. That's not a business model that works for us. So we will still be doing 3D printing for people, but we're not looking at small jobs anymore. If the job is under $100 or so, unless we really just have open printer time and they already have an STL file and the work that I have to do is minimal, we're not taking the work anymore. We're going to be working with local competitors that we can serve that business to instead, and they'll pay us a small finder's fee for it. And I think that makes the most sense for us. It's a business model that can work. We're going to focus obviously more on the YouTube channel, look at growing that to where we can start working with sponsors and make the YouTube channel an actual profitable venture rather than something that is just not profitable for us, which it currently isn't profitable, and that needs to change as well. We're going to be looking at doing more paid classes, not just that one big one for the MAA, but specific classes on things like bed leveling. And while, yes, we have a YouTube video on it, it's not as thorough as it could be. And we do that because people don't want to watch hour-long videos. We've realized this. The Rocky Mountain Rep Rap Festival videos didn't do well because they were too long. Fine. Well, if you want something where someone can work with you on a much closer basis than a 20-minute YouTube video, you'll have these classes available for between $5 and $15. That's the current plan. Ronald DHS says some more B2B stuff. Absolutely more B2B stuff. And we do a lot of B2B. The bulk of our business is B2B right now. That's business to business, for those that don't know. And we will still be doing that. But looking at one of our largest customers who called me to tell me that we're not going to be seeing much more work from them because they're bringing a very specific technology that we don't have here in-house. And while I'm likely going to end up being a consultant for them and make relatively the same amount of money that we've made with them in the past, that to me starts to show the times that we're in. That polymer is not, well, this type of polymer, FDM, MSLA, SLA, is not always the right option. And that for us to better serve a broader community, we need to have more options available to those people. So that's why we're going to focus on the bigger jobs that bring in bigger money that allow us to get bigger machines to lather, rinse, and repeat. This is not an easy decision from a company basis because it means that a lot of our engineers might not be getting the work they used to get, and they've been seeing it. It means that we're going to trim the fat, and those that are being trimmed have been made aware. And I hate to do it, and we still have great relationships. And I let them hang out if they want, but it means that they're probably not going to get work for a while until we figure out what the new normal is. This is a paradigm shift in how 3D Musketeers will operate, and it is a valuable thing to look at because this is done on a base of research. Here's my research. We have found that printers have gotten more affordable, and the education surrounding them has not changed. And while there are some channels that focus on this kind of thing, they're hard to find sometimes, and a lot of the videos that we do find out there have a lot of conflicting information that can take newbies down a path that doesn't make sense. When you're looking at really, really specific problems for printers that you can't understand, trying to find what those problems are and solve them is a very complicated thing because you don't know what to look for because, again, the information that you get doesn't make sense. So what's my commitment to all of this? My commitment is to work on standardizing the way that people look at failures. We have made Print Fix Friday for a reason. From the beginning, it was always about educating, but also looking at standardizing what certain things are called and why. So that when you are looking to solve your print failure issues, you are able to find those videos and hopefully find the one that matters to you, and then look for why the problem exists. And if you can do all of that, then you can really look at solving it. You'll notice once we hit 104 on Print Fix Friday, that'll be 2 years that we've done it. We're going to be shifting the focus of Print Fix Friday to be more about specific issues and what they're called, why they occur, and how you can stop it. Where, you're talking like 1 to 2 failures per video and still a 20-minute video. And they will have call to actions to push you into paid classes, because that's how we will make money. That is a business model that we believe makes sense. As the world gets more and more digital, it is going to be a requirement that people do continuing education online. And if we are not taking advantage of that as a company, then we're missing out. We're looking at going back into the convention circuit, doing big scan and print jobs for companies that are on the Fortune 100 list, where, quotes are 40 grand, 50 grand, 60 grand and up, and integrating that into YouTube content as well. These are decisions that we've made because I've said I don't want to just drop 3D Musketeers. But I will tell you, if it wasn't for the YouTube channel and the efforts that we've done digitally, I think we would be ending Actually, we would have ended 3D Musketeers June 1st. I mean, that would have been what we did. But because we have an option that we can see good growth in, that we can see an industry that we like to play in, and minus a couple of bad actors, it's a really awesome place to be. We would probably be shutting down, and I would go back to trying to find a day job. That's the truth of it. And that's hard. But I've been running myself ragged for years, and I've gotten nothing to show for it. I've gotten a bad back, but that's not my fault. That's from previous employer. Those are the risks of becoming your own boss. Those are the signs that going full-time, probably not the right move. Those are the signs that pivoting hasn't ever worked, or hasn't worked long enough to be scalable. So it's time. And I'm okay with this. And while I've denied it for a while, it means a lot to me that we have a bunch of people supporting us in what we do and how we do it. Because at the end of the day, it's you guys are the reason that I still get up, I still make parts every couple of days, I make parts for our clients, and some of you are clients. And I love that. But we brought on one of our staff members, yes, and viewers like you. We brought on one of our staff members as close to full-time as I can honestly get without making a W-2 for this summer, who's going to be helping me build more content. We are going to be building out a year's worth of written content for our website that will be mainly focused on previous, past, and current videos and future videos, so that we can release written content when we also release, video content. We're looking at finding more sponsors, people that want to give us money to talk about what they do. I'm not so interested in products. I mean, if there is a cool printer like that Flying Bear Reborn 2 that we did, I'll do it, because that is an interesting machine that has value to me. But the Ender 3 clones that are just cheap Ender 3 clones, we probably won't see a lot of them, because it's not cool. I want to start getting into more of the high-end stuff, take you guys through what it's like to run those type of machines. We'll see if we can get there, see if the channel will kind of allow us those movements without kicking back. But this is part of our commitment to really looking at being an education provider and a source for knowledge in the industry. because I believe that is the blue ocean where there's nobody else. Well, there's a few, but it's not enough that it's, there's no pie for everybody. Now, if you have a formula that works, continue it. But keep an eye on your numbers. If your numbers go up and then all of a sudden plateau, you should be looking at understanding why they are plateauing. There might be a reason. If your numbers plateau for a reason, it's often because something you're doing isn't working. Are you running out of time and that means you can only take so many orders because you're running as hard as you can? Great. Hire somebody. Get a robot or a cobot that can help you out for some of the, I don't know, normal stuff, right? Because that's the kind of thing that takes up a lot of your time. And again, you only get 24 hours in a day, so make that time count. Because if you don't, somebody else will. Brian Birmingham says, this almost sounds like a goodbye to your current channel as it is now. No. In fact, this is we are doubling down on content. Because making parts for people isn't all that profitable here in Tampa. Tampa, even though it's one of the fastest growing tech cities in the nation, has no desire to look outside of the SaaS market, which is the software as a service. We are not that. We are a, service bureau. We make parts for people. That doesn't work for software businesses. So no, the channel's not going anywhere. In fact, once we really start to wind everything down properly here, and I'm really taking my time on winding down the day-to-day stuff of 3D Musketeers and what those projects look like. We are going to start doing more live streams. My goal in July is to stream twice a week, whether that is Voron builds, accessories, modifications, hangout streams where I'm just working. That's the kind of stuff that I want to do because I believe that's where things come in. And I've seen that the growth in this channel really follows the amount of effort that we put into it. We're looking at doing more content because I believe there is a value to what we do. And even if we don't make a ton of money doing it, we can help a ton of people. And that has way more value to me than making onesie twosie parts here or there. That's how I see it, at least. Holy shit. Mr. Gregory Pfeiffer with the $100 super chat. Jeez. But, thank you. It says, here's to the new era of 3D Musketeers. Hope it is profitable for all involved. I hope it is too. There's no guarantee, obviously. And there never will be. That's not what this is about. It's not about a guarantee. But Greg is one of our big supporters in Patreon. Greg supports the channel every month. And Greg will randomly drop a ton of money. Like, dude, thank you. That goes a long way to helping this channel. Seriously. It's why you see content creators talking about Patreon, YouTube channel members, and everything like that. Because there is so much value to the work that we do, and a couple of bucks a month goes a long way into making this channel profitable. If we took every viewer that watches our videos, and I can pull that number, I can pull the number of unique views that we have had this month. We have had 65,000 unique viewers in the past 28 days. If every single one of them gave $1 to the channel every single month, we would have a ridiculous business, an absolutely ridiculous business. 65 grand a month? What is that per year? That's what, a quarter, I'm gonna do the. I think it's well over $250,000. Give me just a second, because now I want to do the math so I can find out. That's $780,000 a year. $780,000 a year. And that's not an uncommon month for us. If we look at the past 90 days, wrong button. The past 90 days, we've done 759.5 thousand unique views. So yeah, it doesn't take a lot to look at it and say, wait a minute. And hell, even if we look at the returning viewers in the past 90 days, 70,000. That's still a pretty good business. Making what? It's every 3 months is a little over 20 grand a month. Yeah. And see, those numbers start to make a lot of sense when you're looking at it from a business perspective. And that's why you see us talk about things like call to actions and this and that. And, hey, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, because that's what helps the channel get out and see other people. And I'm actively looking at ways to expand the business to get my home back. I want you guys to think about what 48 3D printers, or 49 now, and over 300 kilograms of filament looks like in a house in a garage. But I can tell you, it's not pretty. And I want that part of my house back. I want to either pour a pad and build a building, or I want to find a way to put a container on our property. Because that's how we win. That's how I win. That's how I can get my separation of business and personal life back. If you realize there are 11 resin printers up on the wall here, and I'm looking at adding 5 more FDM printers on this wall. There are 4 Prusas. There's a Fusion 3 F410, a Lulzbot Taz 6. There's a broken Snapmaker. There's a Soval SV06 and a Bamboo. That's on this wall here. There's a wash and cure station. There's another wash and cure station. And then there's some other ultrasonic stuff for resin cleaning. We are likely going to cut our resin in half. I'm going to donate those printers to a local makerspace. And, dive down and put all my resin on one shelf, so we can focus more on the FDM and organizing and that kind of thing. It's weird, because this is what it looks like to pivot a business in a real way. Maybe I wasn't ready to start this. I certainly wasn't ready to do the YouTube channel. I'll tell you that. I was not ready to do that. We fell into it, and I really enjoyed it. Ronald DHS says, get prettier printers. Yeah, be cool. Love to get more Vorons. And we are working on a Harlequin build with Fabrico, where every single piece is a different color. So I'm actually really excited for that. Jason Haddock says, I only have 3 resin printers, but I don't have a need for more. We ended up with 10, because we have 10 different materials that we print with and colors, and I have 1 printer as a spare. I can probably cut that down to 4 pretty easily, because it's the 4 common materials. Gray resin, casting resin, Soraya Tech blue, and I don't know, white, maybe? That's really the stuff that we get. Gregory Pfeiffer says, sounds like it could be a great opportunity for creating an effective workspace content. That might be in conjunction with FlexiSpot. We'll see. They want to sponsor a video. And give me a new desk that actually is going to replace the set table that we have. And we'll talk about creating an effective workspace. But yeah, and Fabrico being 4 hours south of me just makes it so easy. So yeah, I think what we found is your options to pivot or close are not always the most obvious. And when you've built this baby for so long, throwing it away really just, it kicks your teeth in, man. And you don't want to go through it. And to all of those that are out there struggling, reach out. YouTube at 3dmusketeers.com goes directly into my inbox. It does not go to the staff. It doesn't go to anybody else other than me. Thankfully, the companies that reach out to us for influencer stuff don't realize that. And I can fake a staff member. But I really do, really do want to tell you that you're not alone in your struggles. You might feel like you are, but you're not. Jason Haddock says, Grant, I really enjoy your content, and I'm looking forward to the day I actually get somewhere you are to meet you and shake your hand. Well, I can tell you we are going to the East Coast Rap Festival. That is booked, scheduled, everything is done for it. So that is happening. We will be there. So if you will be there, you can shake my hand there. And like the guy that came up to me, I was at Goodwill with Amber. Guy came up to me and said, you're the 3D Musketeers guy, aren't you? I said, I am. He said, cool. Good to meet you. He's like, yeah, you look exactly the same. I said, well, I hope so. I don't change anything when I'm on camera. I should trim my beard, though. It's getting too long. I'll trim it tonight. But yeah, you're not alone. You're not alone in your business, and don't be afraid to take a break. Your clients won't give a damn. And if they do, they're not great clients. Say, hey, I'm going to take a vacation. I'm going to go take a day, right? I'm trying to get back to doing the things that I love. I'm trying to find a way that I can start dancing again, even though it's so far away. It's like a 45-minute drive each way, and I don't want to do it. And it's also late on Sunday nights, so it's like from 6 p.m. through midnight normally is when we would be dancing. Then I want to go kayaking again. We're looking at putting roof racks on Amber's car because my two-door Honda doesn't have roof racks and can't have them. But Amber's CRV can. So, yeah. Don't be afraid if you realize you pulled the trigger a little too soon on going full-time to jump back. If you are working a day job and you are worried about that day job, go ahead and tell them, hey, I'm looking to go down to part-time because I'm pursuing a small business in the world of additive manufacturing. And hopefully it's not in direct competition with your day job, because if it is, they're just going to sue you and they'll fire you. Don't compete with your day job. You likely absolutely can have problems. Gregory Pfeiffer says that Honda definitely can have roof racks, not from the factory. It's a 2002 Honda Accord EX V6 Coupe, which means it only has 2 doors, which means it does not have the ability for roof racks. So, yeah. And yes, as my brother says, so many of us can't just go to part-time. Yeah, for what you do, John, you couldn't go to part-time. So you do your 8 to 5 and your 5 to 8, right? You stay up, you work a little bit on your 3D printers. And again, the nice thing is, if you plan things out and your prints are at the right kind of timing, you can, when you get home from work, reply to the emails that you had from that day, right? And if you're good and your lunches are your time, you have to make sure that your lunches are your time. They should be, but make sure in your particular state that your lunches are your time. You can reply to your day, you can reply to your business stuff during lunch. Do not do it on your employer's Wi-Fi with your employer's computers. Make sure it is your own equipment. Please don't do that. Make sure you do things on your own equipment that is for your own business. I do not want to get into ShopRite, but it is a very, very complicated thing to deal with. Please be careful about your local laws and regulations. Make sure you know what you are doing. If you don't know what you're doing, consult an attorney. Because the last thing you want to do is get sued by someone who has way more money than you. Because it's a losing battle. Anyways. You can, if you have the right ability to do so, reply to your business emails during your lunch break, so you can figure out what your orders are, get back to people, and give them an opportunity to reply to you before the end of the day. Then, when you get home, you take care of all the other emails that you couldn't, return any missed phone calls that you have, and start printers. You know that by the time you get home, it's probably 6, 7 o'clock at night, and you have to get up for work at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning the next day. So you have 12 hours of print time to use. I recommend you never run more than 10. That way, if you do have a part failure, you should know relatively quickly. That'll give you enough time to perform basic maintenance before you run out of time, and the print cannot be done before you go to work. If you are going to run prints that run all night and then through the next day, I like to run generally 18-hour prints. Again, gives you enough time to deal with any small issues that may come up, but it also gives the print enough time to cool down so you're not turning and burning so quickly. If you are at a point where you're running your printers as much as you can and you've run out of capacity, buy more printers. Always have more capacity than you need. We've talked about this. If you need 1 printer, have 2. If you need 2, have 3. If you need 3, have 5. At some point, you start adding multiples extra, because as your business waxes and wanes, you'll either have really cool backgrounds for your videos, or you'll end up with spare machines that can either be used for when failure modes occur or when you have other issues. It's totally okay. Skate Soup, interesting name, says silo. The better you have the 2 separated, the less likely you are to do something actionable. If you are unsure if it would conflict, don't risk it. Honestly, that's better than how I said it. So listen to what Skate Soup says. Gregory Fiber says Solvo SV06 line is cheap. The new Elegoo Neptune 4s look promising. I need to reach out to Elegoo to get those, because I do want to look at those. Friendship Light says dedicate some machines to 0.2 and 0.6. I do not dedicate any machines to below 0.4, because if it needs the quality below 0.4, I'm just going to use resin. I'm just going to use the resin printers, because that's when having multiple technologies makes sense. And look, resin printers are dirt cheap. Whatever the latest Mars printer is, they're like $200. Okay? And for those that are looking at the Soval, Liz just got one. She did an unboxing of it on her Twitch channel. It was cool. We call them poverty Prushas for a reason. They are poverty Prushas. They are Mark III's that are blue. I'm sorry. That's what they are. Liz, remind me. I need to update my profiles for them, and we'll post them in the Discord to include the mesh bed leveling. But as our Discord says, it is the small PP and the big PP. The big PP being the Solvo SV06 Plus, it is the big poverty Prusa. Anyways, and apparently my brother is printing his micro PP right now, which is a clone mini that he got from Fies Tech. I have one as well, and we will be testing it up against the regular, real Prusa mini. We'll see how it works. SE06 hates Cura. You need Prusa Slicer, Orca Slicer. Great, because I don't like Cura either. But yeah, like, the value of cheap printers right now has gotten so good. So good! I've got you. I'm sorry. I'm a music geek. I don't know, man. Specifically a Motown geek. So, yeah. Siloing, man. You gotta separate it. It's like, the separation of church and state. Just don't blur the lines like Florida and some of the other states do. Stick with the separation. You gotta keep them separated. And if you do have a day job where it is all or nothing, you're not able to go to a part-time, then maybe you do look for a part-time job. Maybe one that you can work from home, right? With the advent of human malware and what all that has done, it means that a lot of jobs are not really looking to go back to offices. They love keeping their staff at home. Now, some of them that are paranoid will force them to come back into the office because they don't trust that the staff are reasonably, working all the time. But here's the fun thing. When you're at an office, you're going to be chatting with people. You got the water cooler that you're going to go hang out in. And, you waste time. Welcome to the life of working a full-time job. You're not really working 8 hours a day. You're working like 6, maybe. And while you might start working the full 8, hell, you might even do 9. You often get very complacent very quickly because you realize all you're doing is working so somebody else can make more money than you. And that feeling gets old fast. And that's where the idea of taking this hobby and making it a job does a lot. Allison Ford says, I work full time, but I'm often working from home 2 days a week. Yeah. That's when you can really make sure you're siloed, of course, but have some opportunity to work between the two. Now, again, read your contracts, know what you can do legally. I'm not your attorney, but there are ways that you can make something work where you still have some level of income while you are working to grow a small business. Hell, there are so many businesses out there that need your help. Hell, there are people that might do similar things to you that need your help. If you are really good at design and you're kind of iffy on the 3D printing, go find someone in another state that needs help with design that you can design for. This is where Fiverr and Upwork can come in. I just don't like them very much because, again, it's similar to Etsy where you compete a lot on price. And, yeah. Not a huge fan of competing on price. And I don't think you should be either. Again, undercutting people is bad. Don't do that. Charge a reasonable rate. If people undercut you, then let them undercut you. Find ways to stand out from others, be it your customer service, your quality, your response time, your friendliness, the fact that you give a damn, and the fact that you might have knowledge that the person printing out of their mom's basement may not. That knowledge is invaluable and what builds so much value in the work that you do. I am not the cheapest in the area, and I don't want to be. And I tell that to my clients. I say, well, we've got quotes from other people. I say, then I'm not even going to bother. Well, why won't you bother? I said, because I know I'm not going to be the cheapest. And if all you're doing is trying to find the person who's the cheapest, I don't want to work with you. In fact, I turned away a job because they do not want to sign. They need an NDA, but they don't want to sign mine. We have a policy that we do not accept outside non-disclosures. I ended up denying the work. I'm sorry, but we can't help you. If you do want to sign our non-disclosure, then they needed an addendum. And I'm fine with adding the addendum. I don't care. The addendum was something very specific for their needs. Fine. I'll add it. But otherwise, I'm not accepting outside NDAs. I'm sorry. That is a policy that we've produced. I spent a lot of money writing my non-disclosures with attorneys, and ours are really good, and they're mutual. So if you screw it up, I don't lose things. I still get my money. But if I screw it up, you have every ability to come after myself and my company. Welcome to the life. It's mutual for a reason. This is the kind of stuff that I like. We build those relationships with people. I'm expecting a phone call from that client sometime in the middle of the week when they realize that we are one of the better options for them. But if all you're going to do is undercut people, say, oh, you can make this for 40, well, I can make it for 20. And while you still might make a profit on it, you're just being an asshole. And while, yes, that is what pure capitalism is all about, there's nothing you can do. Don't be that person. Jason Haddock says, thank you for stepping up and saying that. He says, I lost a job already because he wanted a non-compete signed, and I consulted a lawyer, and the lawyer said he wouldn't sign it. Just for reference, in most states, non-competes are not even valuable, and realistically, unless that company has the money to sue you, it's not worth the paper it's printed on. Now, with that being said, obviously, don't sign non-competes. what we do for our staff is we kind of have a don't be a dick policy. I'm not going to force them to sign non-competes because they might go work for competitors at some point. None of them have, which is great. They love working with us. However, you can't take clients with you. And you can't bring the knowledge that you've gained here, things like how we get our target markets and that kind of thing. You can't take that with you to your new job. You can't do that because that qualifies as being a dick. And all of our staff know this. And often, yeah, I'm down. I am totally down because a mutual respect has way more value to you as a business owner than the ruling with an iron fist. Skate Soup says, I print batches of small objects. I finally sliced different numbers of them and put the print time on the file name. So if I don't get started soon enough for a normal batch, I can still get some made. Bingo. Yeah, 100%. 100%. And in fact, Prusa Slicer will just put it in there for you. And if it doesn't, you can add that little tag. So when it saves the file, it puts the print time in there for you. I'm a Prusa Slicer fanboy. I've used other slicers. I just really like the Prusa Slicer. I know I got to try Orca Slicer, but until my issues with my Bamboo are solved, I will not be using Orca Slicer because Bamboo is already blaming the fact that I'm not using Bamboo filament on the fact that my machine isn't working, which I think we all know is bullshit because 95% of the users that use Bamboos are not using stock filament. And you know, I bet they could tell me that if they read their log files. So, yeah. There are things. There are things. And I don't know, man. My buddy Chris Kremitzos has a book called Start Ugly. And I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Start ugly, fail fast, fail forward, fail often. Learn from your mistakes. Learn from your failures. Look at why you failed. Because it's not just because you did something stupid. Something else happened. Was the project not well defined? Was there not a good contract in place? Did the client change something at the last minute and screw you? What happened? And if you can determine all of those different things, you can easily figure out how you can be better in the future. Now, obviously, don't put all your eggs in one basket. It's a bad move to make. Do not do that. But if you need to, be careful, have contracts in place. OMG Frankie says, your build plate is dirty. Update your firmware, slacker. Yeah, if you read the comments, that's kind of what a lot of them say, not understanding what ITAR and CMMC and data security are. And I don't really care to get into it. No more Mr. Nice Grant. People that just come out swinging will just get banned from the channel. Sorry. Calling me a dictator gets you banned from the channel. Does that make me a dictator? A little bit. Do I care? I do not. Sorry. Got some messages I had to take care of. Okay. So then what happens if you have to close? Y'all try to trigger a Grant rant. Yeah, they are, Greg. See, that's the thing. People here love it when I get pissed off. So, you know. Yeah. Anyways. So then, let's get into it a little bit then. Oh, I could trigger one. I just don't want Grant pissed. You have to understand that it's not about me getting upset. It's about me getting really, really frustrated in that things don't work the way that they should. And showing that frustration, where a lot of content creators are going to be more PC about it, I'm not. And does that mean we are less advertiser friendly? 100%. I don't know. Sorry. ADHD's kicking in. Jason Haddix was about to say that it's not piss, it's more frustration. That is what I like about your attitude. Yeah, I never thought that people would actually enjoy the fact that I don't really hide my emotions. Um, it's not something that I expected, but I'm kind of glad you guys do because it's way harder to hide them. um, and those that are in our Discord that will hang out with me in the live chats, that is a lot of what you all will see. You all will see it, and you'll see me get frustrated at random things, like the Prusa behind me randomly just it is with one color. It is with the Jessie blood red light glitter. It does not like to stick to PEI for some reason. I don't know why. So I got really frustrated. I said, screw it. And I just grabbed my hairspray and I sprayed the bed down. It stuck like a hot damn. Great. Cool. Perfect. And they're like, oh, your bed isn't clean. I'm like, no, it isn't. Because I'm just tired of dealing with the fact that that particular color needs a much higher printing temperature than others. So a little bit of glue. She doesn't come up. Jason says, I was so frustrated Wednesday, and I was happy that you came in and said something that night. 100% back you up on that. Oh, yeah, the Wednesday. The Wednesday video? What was the Wednesday video? I don't know. Or are you in our Discord that I don't know about? I don't know. Friendship Light says, is anyone as excited as me for the news that Prusa is going to support arc overhang slicing confirmed by Joseph? I am really excited for that. I am curious to see how it will perform on machines like the Mark III versus the Mark IV. I am curious to see how it will be implemented, but this is the value of what open source brings. Greg says, I can also confirm that Grant rants via the Discord are pretty top tier. Highly recommended joining the Patreon or channel forum. Amber is here. Hi, Amber. Oh, the Wednesday night on the other stream. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay. So, yeah. Are we going to pivot or are we going to close? I say I'm still conscious, so we ain't going down without a fight. Wrap your hands, put the gloves on, protect your face, and it's time to go to war. Remember that in a small business, you have bills to pay, and the rent, it's due daily. And it's due with hard work, effort, and money. When you first start, you might not be profitable. That's why maintaining a day job can be very important, or maintaining a secondary source of income. Obviously, if you have a second person or multiple people in your house that bring in income, that can significantly increase your ability to do this and chase a dream, as well as be able to support your home as well. But I will tell you, if you become someone that works from home all the time, you better freaking help out around the house if somebody else is bringing in the money. Just going to put that one out there. They'll appreciate that. It's called, respect. Because eventually you will find out what that means to me. You will find warning signs constantly that things might not be going well. Start early, start fast, and get a therapist. Somebody to help you through the BS, through what life is going on. And if you need extra help, we are not licensed therapists in our Discord, but we'll talk to you. Go join the $10 tier higher via Patreon, YouTube channel members, or PayPal. Then you can come hang out with us. Literally, let's see. How many people are in the Discord right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people, right? Yep, 7 people in the hangout, live hangout right now, talking while I'm streaming. We are all here to help each other. And while being a solopreneur feels like you are fighting an army alone and you have no power to get through it, you will walk through the valley of shadow and death. But those of us that have walked through it many times might have already made that flashlight to help you see the way. Right? And yes, I know you all are talking smack about me in there. Ben Cox says, ignore the misinformed simpletons in their YouTube comments. If they had half the idea about ITAR and has watched your live unboxings, they would know the issues are legit instead of they just gob off. Yeah, you ain't wrong. Jason says, I'm trying to shift some things around so I can get in on the Patreon. I appreciate that. I understand that there is a pay gate for it. And that reason is very specific. One, you're going to get a lot of help in there from myself and others. And $10, that's cheap. Two, I don't want a server with like 10,000 people in it. It gets way too crazy. We want people that are supporting the channel, that support the show, that support what we do. And that means we got to gate it. It also keeps the haters out. Because $1 is not enough to keep haters out. We know this because we have people in our Discord that have joined haters' Discords as espionage to see what's going on. And it's hilarious to me. So we thought that 10 was the most appropriate. Brian says, when I get better at 3D printing, I would join your Discord. But right now, I'm still holding a club and spear in that aspect, all in good time. But see, that's the deal, Brian. Joining our Discord, we hand you the tools to be successful. All you have to do is go for it. We're there to help. And we have so many people around the world that often there's somebody awake. And so we tell people, just jump in the voice chat and hang out. Anyways. So yeah, it is. It's a super friendly community. We play video games from time to time. And as I don't even know how to say your name. Oh, D Santiago 13 says Grant rants are an expression of passion. 100%. 100% they are. Greg says he'll hop in and sit down once he can sit down and stop messing with stuff. Allison says you don't need to be great at 3D printing. She's not. Allison is one of our oldest fans, and I say that as a time thing, not an age thing. Allison has been around since before I was really heavily talking about 3D printing. That tells you how long that she's enjoyed the channel. I am a helper. It's what I do and it's what I want to do. I want to help you guys learn more, become more proficient, and start your own businesses in a niche that you know really well so that you too can make money with 3D printing. But I will tell you, I have made a lot of mistakes along the way. And I will continue to make them. But the cool thing is, I'm going to share a lot of them with you guys. Some of them I won't, but I'm going to share a lot of them. Because ultimately, I believe that that sharing of knowledge is what really does separate, forgive the poor political expression, but the men from the boys. Do you want to be a small time or do you want to look at being big time? It's what it takes. And yeah, like literally, we were watching Aussie Man videos last night while I was going through the Making Awesome Academy, watching a 95-year-old man kick a venomous snake because it was attacking him. That's the kind of random crap that we do. We are we have a great community. And I'm glad that we made the decision to pay gate it. You might disagree with that. You might say that we're money hungry. It's a business after all, and yours truly would like to get paid at some point. And, well, that's where we go. We go to the path where the money is. Often when you start a small business, it is, if the money is there, I don't care. And while that can get you through the day, you will not thrive on that. Find the right people. Figure things out. Build a business. Build brand. And then, when you're ready, do what we're doing right here. Share the knowledge. Whether it is you take somebody under your wing and you mentor them, you teach classes at a local maker space, you volunteer at a local library makerspace. You find ways to give back in the way that those have given to you. I believe that's where value is. It's not in making a ton of money. You want to go make a ton of money, go make a ton of money. I would love to make a ton of money. But you know what I would love to do more than make a ton of money? Is to help people. I love helping people. There is nothing more rewarding than someone saying thank you. Than someone saying, I really do enjoy the content. It's really helped me. Hell, we're working with a local school. And they sent me some files to print. They weren't great. So I talked with the teacher. I said, well, you know, actually, we have a 30,000 subscriber YouTube channel. Let me film a video and I'll send it to you and I'll upload it to that channel. Now, it's not a public video. You guys can't see it. But it was me going through everything with the kids. And the teacher was taking photos of the kids and she sent me some of the photos. She's like, this is the face of kids that just realized that this industry is way cooler than they thought. It's pretty cool. Amber says, I'm looking through the comments where we were talking about my roof racks. Yeah, Amber, we were talking about your racks. But like the photos from that teacher of the kids with like jaws to the floor, excited and wanting to learn more about this industry was so... It like lights a fire under your ass for making really cool stuff. And I tell you what, if that is not one of the most fulfilling things that you can do, then I think you're in it for the wrong reason. In it to make money, 100%. But I really want people to look at what we do and say, I can do it too. So when is the right time to start your business? As soon as you're ready. Because I have faith that you can do it. And when it is public. If you need more help, of course there's our Discord, but we will also be looking at the Making Awesome Academy as means to help you look at starting your 3D printing business. This isn't my first rodeo. And you don't work with clients like the Smithsonian, Snoop Dogg, Steve Aoki, Anthony Anderson, Lawrence Fishburne, Ronda Rousey, Justin Bieber, Dan Bilzerian, the Shakur family, that's Tupac's family, and more. Hell, we worked with Noah. We worked with the city of Tampa. We worked with Marvel. I worked with Marvel before Joel did. We didn't have a channel back then. Still a cool video. You don't get all of that because you don't know what you're doing. You get that because you actually know a lot about what you're doing. And while I don't like talking a lot about my past, because it feels like I'm just sitting there tooting my own horn, I'd rather let the work that we do prove that I know what I'm doing. Brian Blankenship says, Grant, I got into 3D printing and design because of you. Thank you so very much. You have no idea what you've done for so many people. I don't. I actually don't. And part of me doesn't want to know. Because you always have this fear that it's going to go right to your head. And my head's big enough as it is. So, yeah. I appreciate it. And those of you that do reach out and thank me or, you know, tell me personal stories, I read them all and I heavily appreciate it. I want you guys to know that you're not alone in your struggles. And if you need help, we're here. YouTube at 3dmusketeers.com. You can tweet at me. You can DM me. And you know what? If you got your own channel and you want to interview me, hit me up. We don't charge for it. I'd love to kind of talk about the business of 3D printing more often. But I'm going to call it. I think we've done a good hour 45 here. And I think we kind of covered everything. And you guys got to learn a little bit about the inside of 3D Musketeers. What we are going to be doing moving forward and how we really kind of are doubling down on content and not just the free content you get on YouTube. So again, when is the best time to start your business? Now. Stay safe out there. Don't forget to call your loved ones. And as always, keep making awesome. Have a good one.